I'm Parker Harris. I'm a mechanical engineer, although 4 years ago, I left the engineering field to become a teacher. I'm running for the state senate because as I've helped middle and high school students prepare for their future, I've become increasingly concerned with the future of our politics. All over this country, and Washington is no exception, we've become so divided that elections are no longer about solving our problems, but instead they've become contests to make sure that the other party gets as little done as possible. There's so much good our legislature could do for Washington State, but I'm running because I want to make sure that it happens. In Redmond and all over the 45th District, we've found that a lot of people share our same frustrations with the state of the political divide in our state and in our entire country. It's gotten to the point where the political division itself is turning into a huge distraction from any kind of reasonable or constructive discussion that we could be having in the legislature. I'm running in this campaign as an independent because I don't believe that any one ideology is always right. There are great ideas from both parties, and there's no reason we can't combine them into the solutions that will work for our state.
When I first met Parker, he walked up to my front door, knocked on the door, rang the bell, and I opened the door, and I think it was a Sunday afternoon, if I'm not mistaken, and there stands this young guy and says, "I'm Parker Harris, and I'm running for the state senate." And I was kind of taken aback because it's very infrequently, I'll bet you that hasn't happened 3 times in the 10 years that I've lived here and all my wife's life, that a politician will come by and talk to you. And when he said, "I'm an independent and I'm running for the state senate," I said, this is a breath of fresh air. This is exactly the kind of thing I think that we need. And I just hope that other people see that and realize it. So, I was a Marine for over 20 years on active duty. I'm still a Marine. I just came from visiting one of our Marine families who has lost their husband. And I was raised to be apolitical because in the Marine Corps you don't participate in politics. You vote and you express your opinions that way, but you don't participate in politics. So I can't understand being a Democrat or being a Republican. I continue to get mail from both of them because the old story of keep your enemies close, or keep your friends close and your enemies closer. I get to see both arguments from both sides, and they're almost reached the point of being disgusting at this point. It's just frustrating that they're all fighting with each other. And so when you walked in the front door and said, "I'm an independent," I said, "This is my guy right here." So good for you.
And it was a pleasure to meet you. And thank you for serving.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah. Those sorts of reasonable and constructive discussions are what are necessary to move our state forward in a positive way concerning all of the issues that actually face us as a state. But what's been happening increasingly is that the parties have drifted further and further apart, and it's caused them increasingly to turn to their ideologies. And when we cease to focus on positive outcomes and quality of life, and instead focus only on the ideologies of the parties, we lose the ability to cooperate and effectively go forward with legislation.
One of the things I'm impressed with Parker is that he says what he feels, and he's willing to stand up for and continue sort of pushing his point of view or making sure that we're kind of listening to his point of view, even if it's maybe not the most popular one, but he does it in a thoughtful, gentle way that helps sort of calm things down. It doesn't ramp things up. So I've seen him being willing to stick up for something he believes in, but in a supportive way that helps build community and not tear it down.
So many people say, "I'm a Democrat" or "I'm a Republican," and yet they believe a lot of what the other party is espousing are their beliefs, and they've sort of gotten intertwined, but they can't come off of the fact that I'm a Democrat or I'm a Republican.
Yeah.
And they feel like they have to go down that one side of the ticket. And I think that having somebody in the middle, someone who says, "I'm an independent and I'm not going to be driven by party politics," could be the answer to starting to break this logjam. That'd be great.
We don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars like the other campaigns do. But what we do have is the right message, and it's reaching voters who are just as frustrated as you and I. All I ask is that you tell your friends, tell your neighbors, and tell other people that you know who feel the same way. Together, we can make this campaign a success, and we can bring meaningful change to Olympia. I'm Parker Harris. I humbly ask for your vote to be your senator and represent the 45th District in the Washington State Senate.